Okay, this tutorial will demonstrate how to complete and fill out the 2013 Annual Merit Review Form in Tk20. So to start, there are multiple things that you're going to upload or add to this merit form. The first section, you're going to put your name, and then the second here, you're going to put the date. I do want to highlight here to make sure you put the date in as the format demonstrates there. Specifically with the year, you have to include the 2014 in order for it to take correctly. Otherwise, if you don't, when you try to save it, it's going to give you an error message. Then in the first major section here, you're going to be uploading multiple files into the Tk20 system, your statement of responsibilities, your VITA, and so forth. So I want to highlight here, I would recommend as you prepare to do this, as you get ready to add your information, that beforehand you go ahead and put all of the information you're going to include in here into a folder on your computer. So wherever you happen to save your different files at, more than likely it should be in your network drive, and then within your documents on your computer. But somewhere within your folders, I would recommend creating a, for example, 2013 merit folder where you have all the various things that you're going to upload. Now, one of the things that's important to double check here is to make sure that the file names and formats are correct. If they're not, you're going to get error message as you upload, try to save these files in the system. So I just want to highlight here quickly, for example, you need to make sure that in your file name that you don't have any special characters and that there's only one period. Some server systems will have problems with different special characters, and so that can cause problems, as well as the letters after the period are going to identify the file type. And as well as you need to make sure that there is a file type there. If I click on this, you can manually change what the file name looked like by just clicking on it one time and then hitting enter. But notice here it gave me an error message when I wanted to do this, because what I'm trying to do is change this to basically an unknown file. There is no file type there. So you want to make sure that any of these files that you have a file type, for example .pdf or .doc or .docx for a Word document. Now if your file happens to look like this, you can simply go back and add the file type to it. At the end of it, just put the .doc, hit enter, and now you'll notice that it recognizes it as a Word file. So make sure that you have your file names in there correctly. You can use spaces, you can use hyphens, you just don't want to use other special characters. Okay, so as we go here, for example, if I want to enter my statement of responsibilities, I simply go choose file. This will take me, I'm going to navigate to my 2013 merit form where I have all this information saved. And I can see here's my statement of responsibility. It's saved as a PDF file. So you can double click that and it's going to put it here. Now if you have already uploaded something, this is what's already saved in there right now, it's going to show up the current one that you've put in there. So if you already have something in there, there's not a clear, there's not a delete file. You simply go choose a different file, and then when you finish this, when you go to save, it's going to go through and give you the upload status, and hopefully that goes through correctly and it'll show you at 100% complete. And then as I go back into this form, I edit this form, you'll see that my new file that I've just put in here, my statement of responsibilities, is there. One thing I want to highlight here is that you can do one thing or two things at a time. You don't have to complete the whole thing and save. So at any point that you want to come back and save the work that you've done, you simply go down to the bottom and hit save, and then you can come back in and make changes as you move forward. So you'll follow a similar format, putting in your VITA, your course information charts, which is your grade distributions, and your student rating charts. I'm going to demonstrate, record some other tutorials demonstrating each of these. The directions are right here in order to where you need to go and how to get there, but I'll record a tutorial if you need some help getting those put together. You're going to include your advisor rating chart, which your secretary would have received that in the last couple of weeks from the academic advising department, so they will have that and can send that file to you. Peer review, if you've had a peer review done in the last year, you can include it, but at this point it's an optional upload. You're going to upload 2 syllabi, and then you're going to go through and fill out the instructional activity rubrics. this is a place for you to kind of do some self-reflection after you've gone through and you've looked at your student ratings and you've looked at the different things, the data that you have, your grade distributions, to come back and say, okay, this is kind of what I've done over the past year. This is where I'm at in terms of my instruction. So you're going to kind of grade yourself, if you will, on your learning outcomes, how well those are established in your syllabi and so forth, and simply give yourself a grade. It's automatically going to calculate that over in the score area. And so just work your way through each one of these different rubrics. So we have a section on completing it for your instructional outcomes and alignment. We have a section on instruction facilitation. And then we also have a section on advising. So you're going to go through and grade yourself based on the scale here from low to developing and mastering. And I want to highlight here again that these levels are based on your statement responsibilities. So this is what you've agreed to in terms of what you're going to complete throughout the year. And then we have an instructional activity statement here where you're going to go through and describe the significant steps taken in the last year to improve your instruction. So based off the things that you've looked at and identified above, what we're looking for is here for you just to write a couple paragraphs. This doesn't have to be really long, just a couple paragraphs of you reflecting on what you've done in the last year and highlighting some of your accomplishments or things that you've changed or things that you're going to change in the future. This fits directly with filling out a tenure or promotion notebook. These are the kinds of verbiage and things you would want to include in your candidate statement letter at the front of your notebook, and within each one of those specific sections these would work directly. So if you've recently done that, you can very easily just include what you've done before, or if you're in the process, you could use these to work together. I would recommend, as you go through here with these, to go ahead and type these in a Word document, and I would save those files within that 2013 merit form. That way you have them. So go ahead and type those in a Word document. That way you can use all the features of Word, and then simply just come back and copy and paste that into this form. That way, just in case there's an error or something, you don't lose all the work that you've put together for these things. Again, we're looking probably for a couple paragraphs of you describing what you've done in the last year to improve your instruction. There are very similar sections then for your scholarly activities, just one rubric rating here, and then one statement here talking about your accomplishments in the last year. I do want to highlight here that we're asking you to highlight the type of scholarship using Boyer's categorizations. These are listed up above here. And then also talking about the professional contribution, such as, was it a local, regional, or national level type of scholarly activity? Was it a peer-reviewed or not? And just describe those types of things. You want to basically highlight what you've done in the areas of scholarship. And then lastly, service is very similar. One rubric to fill out, and then you have a statement that you're going to include as well. All of these things should correlate with what you've included in your VITA. And that was the second thing that you should put up there. But obviously all the things that, your scholarship and service, those things should be listed in your VITA. And so it's kind of a way for you to describe further simply those bullet items that might show up in your VITA. And then as we get down to the bottom here, we have the faculty signature. So at the point when you've completed all your information, you're going to go through and sign your name. This is your electronic signature saying that you have included this information. Choose a date using this option here. Pick your date. That'll include the date there, and you can select your time. And then lastly, you would save it. Now I do want to highlight here that we have developed a survey. The Faculty Evaluation Committee would like to collect some feedback, wants to get some data back on your perceptions concerning this instrument, as it's a new way for us to document our merit evaluations, and we want to get your feeling on how well it's done that, as well as get your opinion on how it went for you doing it within Tk20. So we're really looking for two different things, your perception of the instrument itself, and then also how it went within submitting it within the Tk20 system. I do want to highlight here that to take that survey, you just click on this link here. It's going to open that in a new tab where you work your way through. It's a very short and direct survey. but notice that it did open in a new tab, so don't forget that you need to come over here and save this information. So don't click over to the survey and forget to come back and finish what you've done here. So in this case, what I'd recommend is clicking on that where it'll open in the new tab, but then you come back to your Tk20 system, save that, that way all of that information is there, and then if you would please fill out the survey. One final thing in terms of this tutorial and this form, in terms of the deadline and so forth. There is no, as you look to the bottom, there is no specific submit. There's no final submission of it. You simply save it and it goes in there. So basically you need to reference with the head of the department, your chair, on when all this information needs to go in there. Each one of the chairs is kind of deciding when they're going to start reviewing this information. So basically you will continue to have access to it. Your chair is going to let you know the date that which everything needs to be done, and at that point not to make any further changes to it. Eventually, when all this is said and done, that tab will go away, so you can't access it anymore. So as a final thing, you're going to want to go through and save this information. Again, most of these things, your things that you've typed in there, pasted in there, should already be saved in your Word document. But the main value will be getting saved this information here for the rubrics and kind of where you assessed yourself. That way, next year, when you come back and do this again, you can kind of see where you were last year and reflect from there. So what I would recommend doing is, once you are almost done with this, is simply to print this. If you do a Control P, that will do, or File Print, that will take you to the print, and you can print it out, whether you print it out in hard copy form, or you can print it as a PDF file. So over in the destination here, you can change that. Right now I'm using Google Chrome, but the other browsers will work very similar. And if you want to create a PDF directly in Google Chrome, you can go save as a PDF. Or if I look for my different printers, on all computers on campus, CTC has installed the Qt PDF Writer. You can choose that. And when you go to print it, it's not going to actually print to a physical printer. What it's going to do is is going to create a PDF file. So what should happen here is it should open up a dialog where you can save that file, and where you could go through and save that PDF. Mine's not working here, so let me try this again. I'm going to go print PDF. Maybe in this case, maybe because I'm using Chrome, it has this save as PDF option, so I'll go ahead and use that. Go save, and here it gives me this dialog box to save as. So again, this is where I would come back to where I have that folder where all of this information is saved. Oh, there's my PDF Writer dialog that finally came up. I'm going to cancel that because I'm using the other option here. I'm going to go to where I have saved all this information. Again, that 2013 merit form, and this is where I would save this as my 2013 completed form. And that will give me a hard copy that I can have, or a saved file on my computer as I go forward. Alright, the remaining tutorials then will demonstrate specifically how to generate your grade distribution charts and your student rating charts for TK20.